Welcome back, Jeff Heggie, Daily Success Strategies. Thanks for being with me today. What I want to talk about today is, depending on your age, one of the greatest basketball players that you may have never heard of, and also the importance of who you surround yourself with, the people you hang out with, the people that are in your inner circle. But first of all, same thing we do every Monday. What is it that you need to do this week so that on Friday you're going to be able to look back and say, one, it's been a successful week, and two, you're closer to your bigger goals. So make sure you commit to that. Be accountable to it. Figure out what your action plans are. What are the things that you need to change from a should to a must this week? Be accountable to it. Send me a DM, email me at jeff@jeffhagee.com, whatever you have to do. Do something that's going to hold you accountable so that on Friday when we look back, you can say, yes, it's been a successful week, or these are the things I need to complete. And then we can look at things and move forward from there. But you've got to be able to start working towards your goals day by day by day and get closer to your bigger goals every day. So be accountable to that. So I'll start with a quote from the book To the Hilt by Kevin Templeton. Talking about Michael Jordan, he says, Jordan was not the best basketball player that I ever saw. Len Bias of Maryland would hold that distinction. Now, he said Bias was a better shooter, Bias was a better, more dominant rebounder, Bias was stronger, bigger, everything like that. So Len Bias took his team at Maryland to the pinnacle of where they had been. He was a two-time ACC Player of the Year, and everything about him was just dominance. And he was such an athlete. He was one of the first basketball players to really start lifting weights during season and doing the things that help athletes get to another level. So fast forward a little bit, on June 17th of 1986, Len Bias was drafted number 2 in the NBA draft to the Boston Celtics. This was at a time the Boston Celtics had just won the NBA championship, and they were really putting together something that was going to be great. Larry Bird was still playing incredible, but he was having back problems. Len Bias being added to that lineup was going to give Larry the ability to have some rest and still be dominant. And there was so much that was just working out for Len Bias, for the Celtics, for everything that they were doing. There was a shoe company that wanted to compete with the big boys, the Nikes and Adidas of the world. It was Reebok. They wanted Len Bias to be their man. They offered him and signed a $1.6 million deal with him for 5 years, plus tens and thousands of dollars worth of shoes and Reebok paraphernalia for himself and his family and friends. Things were just going great for Len Bias. You know, even looking back, there was a time, because Jordan was drafted 2 years earlier, but they did meet up when they played each other in college. And the game that they met up, Bias was the dominant force. They both played well. Bias had 24 points, Jordan had 21, but overall, Bias was more dominant in that game. Jordan moved on to the NBA. He won Rookie of the Year, and he had already started his progression of becoming, well, what if you follow me and know me, you know that I believe Jordan to be the greatest of all time. But he was already on that path, and Bias was someone that could have come into the NBA and done some amazing things, and it would have been incredible to watch what that all developed into. But obviously, from the way I'm talking, and if you know any of this story, that didn't happen. So 2 years after the draft, he is 22 years old. He went out to celebrate with some friends, some teammates, and just celebrate everything that was happening. Being drafted number 2 in the NBA, his contracts that he had signed, everything that was happening. At 3 a.m. he returned to the dorms, and he was with a friend, a workout partner, and he had never in his life, according to any of his friends, he had been tested by 3 NBA teams. He had never used drugs. But this friend offered him cocaine that night. And his friend's name was Brian Tribble, who later ended up serving, I believe it was 10 years in jail for drug trafficking. But sometime at 3 a.m. they returned to the dorms. between that time and morning, Tribble had offered him the cocaine and he took it. At 8:55 the next morning, he was pronounced dead. Cardiac arrhythmia due to cocaine use is the official cause of death. Now, as Templeton said in his book, he said he gave up his future because of a person that he thought was a friend. And so as we look at that, what's Len Bias remembered for? He's remembered for not the greatness that he had, not all the accomplishments that he had, not what he could have done with the Celtics dynasty. He's remembered for the dumbest thing he ever did. He's remembered for a bad choice that cost him his life. And, as we look at situations like this, he made one bad choice because of the person he was with that night. And so when we talk about the people we surround ourselves with, the friends we hang out with, the business associates we have, this is just one example of why that's so important. Because one mistake can cost you everything. And I'm not just talking about major things like this where it cost him his life. One mistake could cost you business deals, could cost you relationships, could cost you so many things. And so, especially, I know I have a lot of young athletes that listen to these. Who are the people that you're spending time with? Who are the people that you're hanging out with, and what are the decisions they're making? Because I talk to a lot of young athletes that say, well, he might be making bad decisions, but I'm strong. I don't do that. Well, you know what? Len Bias had never done drugs before this point ever. According to his friends, according to his family, according to everyone that knew him, he had teammates that had been with him for 4 years that said he had never, ever done it. He made one mistake because of a friend that he was with that night. So I want you to be thinking about that. Who are you spending your time with? You need to choose friends that are going to be lifters, that are going to help and encourage you to reach your greatest heights, to do the most that you can do. From a business standpoint, who are the people that you're spending time with that are going to help you achieve the goals that you have in your businesses? In Proverbs 13:20, it says, "He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed." So, at jeffheggie.com, go there, scroll to the bottom to the search, and search the Surround Yourself with Greatness article. I'd love for you to read that and share your thoughts with me. But hopefully this is something you can really think about as you start your week today, and really think about the people that you are spending your time with. Who is it that you can bring into your inner circle that not only is going to help you do what you're trying to achieve, but push you beyond your limits? It's going to really help you to become the person that you truly can be. All right, well, thanks for being with me. I'd love for you to share this with anyone that might get some benefit out of it. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Bye.